the downward trend of the week at 88.53 on WTI. I'm not talking Brent, I'm talking US oil. And we are now trading at a price level. It closed at the price level only seen before the Russian-Ukraine conflict. So we're right back down again. Clean technical ringed high set up, started the week ahead of the sell-off, and continue with the news. There was a big news with OPEC Plus being very, very, very conservative, which wasn't expected, and would increase production by only a meager 100,000 barrels per day, which saw the next leg down on Wednesday. Okay, so that's what we had on that news. But let's just have a look at the charts here. So we started the week. Look at that. We love the technical. I'm a technical analyst, so to see these kind of setups, they warm the cockles on my heart. So here we saw at the end of last week there was a retracement, straight back down. You've got a high test bar there. You've got the shoulder bar that opened the week, closed below the low of the high test bar, which gave me a ring tie setup. And look at it, it just waterfalled all the way down to our little lovely level. There we go. S1 on a monthly S1. They're strong levels. So, sorry, no, that's a weekly level. Beg your pardon. Weekly and monthly. I have weekly and monthly on my charts because they give me stronger levels of support and resistance. Why? Because institutional traders with deeper pockets than commercial traders will use those levels. So that's what we had. We had then had consolidation, again, using the 20 and the F50 EMA on the 4-hourly chart as nothing more than levels of support, levels of resistance. So it's sort of like pinball back again. And then the purple highlighted area, and I'm highlighting it so that I actually can just fry it into my brain. This bar here, the big pullback, that news came out. That news came out just before 11 o'clock at night. And I was a tad tired. I'd had a fairly big week. I was really tired. I looked at it and I'm thinking, why is this still going up? It should be going down with that news that OPEC have only increased by 100,000. That should really just, it was a bit spooked. Why hasn't it? So I woke up the next morning and went, there we have it. Straight back down again. Consolidation, as you expect, with an overextended bar. And then just a bit more of the sell-off as it tries to get its head around the recession and the increase. You can see it there a little more clearly. Comes back down. The daily price actions bounced off the 200 simple moving average, which is really, again, a really strong level. And not just oil, but for really most traders or mainly any kind of trading, 200 simple moving average, you'll find price action will choke around that level as it is. It doesn't really matter. Then we had a sell-off and straight back down to there. So Friday's bar trying to get its head around what it all means with a looming recession. So let's go quickly to have a look what's happening on the weekly. Again, we have just been coming down, down, down. This big green bar here, the end of February, beginning of March, these weekly bars here, this price action, that's the Ukraine conflict, Russia invading, and let's call it for what it is. And that's what happened there. And now you can see where we are under those levels, back down. You're probably noticing it at the petrol bowser there. Well, at least there isn't a 2 at the beginning of the number when I go to pull the petrol nozzle out and put it in the car. So that's all very interesting. We had probably a bit of a signal that things were starting to come off. We had divergence on the MACD histogram. Whilst it made a double top there, we've got this, and if anybody, it's just inside tip, when you're looking at a histogram, MACD histogram, it can sometimes give you a bit of an inside running as to what is happening with price action a little bit sooner than the MACD and the signal line do with divergence and convergence as it is. So always have a little look on the histogram as well. Again, it's still in a very strong upward trend on the monthly. We haven't got anything here that's going to indicate that this downward trend will continue, except for a couple of fundamental things which can always turn on a dime. So this is the fundamentals that we've looked at. The OPEC increase the monthly increments. It was a meager increase. It was not a big increase that was expected. Why did they do this? Why have they done only such a small increase? Well, they're nervous. They've learned their lesson from April 2020 when prices went to a very unapologetic and very ugly, well, zero. So they're very nervous about doing these kind of things with the looming recession, and where they're getting that information from is, look, all the central banks around the place are all increasing their interest rates to try and combat inflation. So that's what we're looking at. The other interesting thing to keep a little eye on as well, which could be interesting, is the head of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, and I do apologize for my Spanish, it isn't good. He is appealing globally to all governments to put an extraordinary tax on the profits of Aramco. They had a little bit of an increase in their net profits to $110 billion in 2021, which was more than double that they saw in the profits of 2020. So yeah, small increase, as you can see, but there's some agitation that these very large companies, and Aramco is one of the biggest companies in the world, are taking these massive profits and stashing it because it's a public company, and they're very keen. They have a very vested interest to keep the price of oil, let's call it buoyant, shall we? So that's what's happened this last week. Where to next? Because there's not a very strong setup that we've got, and that would be talk of the recession, interest rates coming up. Daily charts reflected a strong downtrend, but as you can see on the 4-hourly, we've a bit of consolidation there. It's not a setup. I'm not looking at a setup there on the daily chart at all. It's all very sensitive to news at the moment, really, really sensitive. And we're talking inflation, we're talking recession, we're talking interest rates, we're talking extraordinary taxes. So just be really careful trading with oil. It seems to be flicking around quite a bit. And whilst we have in one direction, we've got really strong periods of consolidation. So just be aware of further volatility at the moment. That's all. So that's me done, Jeff, on oil. I'm just watching that very carefully. It was a really, really nice technical setup on the 4-hourly, as you can see. But and we came down to 2 steps on the S1 to the S2. But let's see where it goes to next. There's just a lot of pot stirring at the moment.
Yeah, I feel and in George's charts as well, I feel we're at an inflection point. I'm just not sure what kicks us either side of that at the moment in terms of fundamentals. But yeah, fundamentals, man, there's some stuff going on, or isn't there some stuff going on around the place, as you pointed out? Yeah,
and there's a lot, and it's making it very, very price action's being very, oil's always been very sensitive to price action and the fundamentals as it is, but just a little bit more. You can see that in the 4-hourly chart where it's just like, well, is that a bounce? Is that a bounce? And then it turns around, no, it's not a bounce. Bang, straight back down again. So,
yeah, indeed. All right, that pretty much wraps us up. Thank you for all that. Very, very comprehensive as usual and informative. And I hope you guys have now a far clearer picture of what oil and gold are doing and are likely to do in the next little bit. As you are on the indices that George bought us, as I say, he's very, very bearish on those until things turn around. As I say, that inflection point is looming large, and I think we'll know a little bit more maybe by the end of the week. Let's hope so. Have a great week, eh? You
too. I'm waiting for the rain.
It'll come, don't worry.
It'll come. We've been told, we've been warned. It's settling in, and we've got another hit of rain coming. So, yeah. See how it goes.
Polly's out again. That's the way it is. Yeah. All right. Okay. Everyone's having issues with the climate around the world. Let's not get into that subject right now. Let's just say
I can't do that.
Let's just say have a great weekend, everyone. Trade well. Thank you, Sam, for looking after us, and we'll catch you on Sunday Market Update next week.